the cat who loved to read stories. Once upon a time, in a small town nestled between rolling hills and shimmering lakes, lived a rather unusual cat named Oliver. Now, most cats enjoy napping in the sun, chasing fluttering butterflies, or perhaps stretching lazily on a windowsill. But Oliver was different. He was a curious, bright-eyed tabby with a gentle spirit and a heart full of wonder. And above all else, Oliver loved to read stories. Oliver's home was with the Brown family. They lived in a cozy blue house with a red front door and a garden filled with zinnias and marigolds. The Browns were a family of book lovers. Their shelves bulged with stories of pirates and princesses, dragons and detectives, astronauts and ancient gods. And every evening, as the sun dipped low and the sky turned pink and gold, the Browns would gather in the living room to read together. But what the Browns didn't know was that Oliver, their clever cat, had developed quite a taste for reading too. He would curl up in the corner of the couch, his golden eyes half closed, and listen intently as the Browns read aloud. Sometimes, when no one was looking, he would even paw open a book, nose twitching with excitement as he gazed at the pages. One rainy afternoon, as gentle drops pattered against the windows, Oliver found himself alone in the house. The Browns had gone to the market, and the house was unexpectedly quiet. Oliver paced around, his tail flicking thoughtfully. He missed the sound of stories filling the air. After a moment, he decided to explore the bookshelves. He leaped gracefully onto a low shelf and examined the spines of the books. There were thick books and thin books, shiny new books and battered old ones. His whiskers quivered with anticipation. Finally, he selected a book with a bright green cover and a picture of a mouse in a tiny red hat. With a gentle nudge, he opened it to the first page. To Oliver's great surprise, as he gazed at the words and pictures, something magical happened. The room began to shimmer. Suddenly, the world around him transformed, and Oliver found himself standing in a meadow filled with wildflowers. A tiny mouse in a red hat scurried up to him. "Hello, Oliver," squeaked the mouse. "Welcome to our story." Oliver blinked in astonishment. "How did I get here?" he wondered. But the mouse grinned and tugged at his paw, leading him on an adventure through the meadow. They raced through tunnels in the tall grass, leapt over sparkling brooks, and shared a feast of cheese and berries under the shade of a great oak tree. It was the most wonderful afternoon Oliver had ever experienced. When the story ended, Oliver found himself back in the living room, the book open in front of him. He purred softly, hardly believing what had happened. He glanced at the bookshelf, his curiosity growing. What would happen if he read another story? He chose a different book, this one with a cover painted in swirling blues and silvers. It was a tale of pirates sailing the seven seas. As soon as Oliver touched the pages with his paw, the room shimmered again, and this time he was standing on the deck of a grand pirate ship. The salty wind ruffled his fur, and he heard the shouts of the crew as they hoisted the sails. "Ahoy, matey!" called the captain, a parrot with a golden earring. "Ready for adventure?" Oliver grinned, his eyes bright with excitement. Together with the pirate crew, he searched for hidden treasure, braved stormy seas, and outwitted a band of mischievous monkeys on a deserted island. When the story came to an end, Oliver was whisked back to the comfort of his living room once more. From that day forward, Oliver's days were filled with magic. He travelled to faraway lands, solved mysteries, and met fantastical creatures, all from the pages of the Browns' books. Every story was a new adventure, and Oliver could hardly wait to see where the next one would take him. But the best part of all was sharing what he'd discovered. When the Browns came home each evening, Oliver would curl up on the rug and listen as they told stories. He wished he could tell them about his own adventures, but for now, they were his special secret. One evening, as Mrs. Brown was tucking little Emily into bed, she noticed something unusual. There were tiny tufts of orange fur on the bookshelf, and one of the picture books was open, its pages turned as if by a gentle paw. "Emily," Mrs. Brown asked, Do you think Oliver likes stories as much as we do? Emily giggled and reached out to scratch Oliver behind the ears. Maybe he does, Mama.